Greetings everyone, this is Vakar Corvi from TFT Perspective, and today we are going to discuss US State Department's report on terrorism 2023, which has just been uh, made public. This is a report on different countries, and here the report is about Pakistan that we are going to discuss. I think they have acknowledged Pakistan's fight against terrorism in all the domains, whether it is legal, informational, military, and diplomatic. And there are, I think, 4 or 5 important points that need to be highlighted as per the report. Pakistan, they say, has strengthened counterterrorism, basically financing a regional cooperation. So it means the check on money flowing in the terrorist network in Pakistan is now under stricter controls, and Pakistan has made all the possible efforts. They've also acknowledged that national risk assessment identified donations and extortion as key funding sources. And this is a challenge that Pakistan had been facing. And there is a curb by the Pakistan government. There have been different ways, administrative and legal, that has been taken. Then, of course, is the biometric border control and de-radicalization centers have been expanded. And if you compare it even with the US, where President Trump keeps, crying on people just crossing the border without asking the United States of America, Pakistan has done much better. Especially if you look at our western border, which is very, very porous. There are houses which are divided between Pakistan and Afghanistan. There are villages, there are tribes, and then there's a lot of movement. Almost 300,000 Afghans, come and go from Afghanistan every month. So that's the kind. And then we have a large number of Afghans who are staying here as refugees since 80s. They've also acknowledged that Pakistan has tried to conduct high-level talks. It means the diplomatic effort with the Afghan Taliban to address cross-border terrorism. But I think there is a caveat here. I think the United States needs to actually check that who is funding Afghan Taliban, because as per Sarah Adams' expose in different programs, even in Sean Ryan show, and even Evan Masood, and later on some of the Afghan in exile. Every week, $87 million being shipped in cash to Taliban by the US from Swiss banks to Iraq and then to Afghanistan. So Pakistan can keep doing its effort, but I think United States State Department needs to look into that. There's also extradition of terrorists to the US wherever hardcore terrorists were concerned. There is definitely enhanced international collaboration which has been acknowledged. But I think what we need to highlight is that it's Pakistan's own fight. We are not doing it for anybody else. First is Pakistan, and then, of course, is international community, because at this time, the terrorism which is emanating from neighborhoods, especially Afghanistan, is a fact, and this has been even acknowledged diplomatically by the regional countries, Iran, China, Russia, Central Asia, and unfortunately, India is also now trying to chip in and then keep using Afghanistan as a base. And there are reports that India is funding. So I think FATF and other organizations need to actually look into how the US money is coming and how the Indian money is coming into Afghanistan. There's also, a legislative effort which has gone in, especially in last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. And in that you found that special laws have been enacted in Pakistan. Then, of course, there are operational advances in counter-terrorism, including physical employment of forces, the intelligence-based operation to avoid any collateral damage or damage to civilians. And also, Pakistan has done border fencing, spending a lot of money. And in case there is a requirement, Pakistan has even gone across to hit the terrorist networks in Afghanistan. Pakistan has also done a lot in international collaboration. Unfortunately, there's been lesser support from the West. There have been reports published in the UN Security Council and other watchdogs on human rights and terrorism. But practically, we don't see much happening. But in the regional framework, a lot has happened. If you look at end of September, there was a quadrilateral meet in which Pakistan, Iran, China, and Russia very clearly communicated to Afghanistan to shut down terrorist networks with names like TTP was mentioned. Similarly, those terrorist organizations which operate in Balochistan, BLA, those which operate in Iran, China, especially the Eastern Turkestan movement, and then of course Central Asia and Russia. Then on 4th of October this year, we had the Moscow format, in which it was an expanded format, in which again Taliban were very clearly told. This was because of Pakistan's effort. Even in SCO's conference here for the Prime Minister and executives, this thing was highlighted. Bilaterally, Pakistan has done a lot. Even I think um, if you look at last 48 hours, Pakistan's special envoy is already in Afghanistan and trying to convince Taliban with proofs that in case we have to coexist as brothers and neighbors, this I think terrorist network has to be dismantled. Then we have also military collaboration in terms of training with the friendly countries. We had Chinese coming here for anti-terrorism drill. It's not only because of let's say bilateral, but for the international peace, because a lot of Chinese targets were hit by the Khawarij or the TTP and even BLA in Balochistan. So it means there's a need for enhanced cooperation. Pakistan has done it with Russia, even with United States, and then some of our friendly countries like Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries. Even the navies, they do cooperate. So it means that Pakistan has expanded its military collaboration. And if you look at training for peacekeeping operations and anti-terrorism, Pakistan is looked as one of the places where people would like to come and learn, because Pakistan has actually fought a very long war, almost now 4 decades. Pakistan is also committed to de-radicalization and education reforms, madrasa reforms, and we want that students from madrasas, other than definitely getting groomed and educated in faith and religion, should also be able to develop skills which are required for 21st century, whether it is information technology, engineering, medicine, other services, or even in the civil services. So that has been a commitment. If you look at Pakistan's counter-violence violence extremism strategy, if you look at the rehabilitation centers established especially in KP and Balochistan, they are working around the clock, and it means that Pakistan is very, very serious. And these are, I think, one of the best example if you look at it globally. There's also Pakistan is not only reviewing its counter-terrorism laws but also implementing it, and it started with the National Action Plan 2014, and that has been reviewed regularly. Erection of institutions and bodies which basically coordinate on counter-terrorism. If you look at NACTA, and of course intelligence sharing between agencies and civil law enforcement and the provincial government. There are apex committees working in every province where the military, political leadership and law enforcement agencies from the civil side sit down and collaborate. Biometric information is collected at land crossings through Pakistan, the international border management security system, which is one of the best in the world. Then of course customs services, they enforce anti-money laundering laws and foreign exchange regulations. There have been a crackdown this year on smuggling of dollars, especially going to Afghanistan, and it has, I think, created an impact. Pakistan is also a member of Asia Pacific Group on Money Laundering with Financial Intelligence Unit or the Financial Monitoring. They have done a wonderful job. That's why Pakistan was actually removed from the grey list. And but if you look at India, which is now doing a lot of financing of the terrorist networks in the region, it's unfortunate. They have been sending death squads to Canada and US, and definitely they were supported through money laundering. Even Adani's network have been, allegedly involved in money laundering. If you look at Hindenburg report or recent, let's say, charges in one of the US courts. Pakistan has also updated national risk assessment and evaluated 7 terrorist organizations' sectarian vulnerabilities in money laundering and terrorist financing. That has been also checked. Then we also feel that donations and extortions are identified as key sources of terrorist financing, with cash couriers and illegal transfer service through Hawala Hundi channels. I have already mentioned that we have a porous border with Afghanistan, which remains a significant challenge. We have cultural and historical linkages. There are families which have kith and kins on both sides. So you can't stop this movement, but it has to be regulated. Then, of course, the relevant agencies receive the assessment to implement policy and operational measures. So it means it's not only top-down approach, but also horizontal, especially when they are coordinating with the civil law enforcement. De-radicalization camps, they offer collective religious education, vocational training, and counseling. And we also want that those who are not involved in heinous crimes, but somehow were bewildered because of motivation, should become part of the mainstream and become useful citizens. Then, of course, additional de-radicalization centers are active, as I mentioned, KP, which hosts the Center of Excellence on Counter-Violence Extremism, countering violent extremism. So this is again one of the state-of-the-art. NACTA has already signed a memorandum of understanding with Pakistan's Higher Education Commission to enhance basically CV initiatives at universities. So we are very, very serious as far as counter violent extremism is concerned. Pakistan has also participated in intellectual and educational forums and think tanks, multilateral forums like the Global Counterterrorism Forum and South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. And then, of course, if you look at the risk which has been basically exposed by US and EU, or the concern about CT counterterrorism trends, especially which are posed from Afghanistan, impacting Pakistan, Central Asia, and the global interests. These are welcome, but main thing is that the West is to stop, financing terrorist networks. Unfortunately, I don't know why they are funding it that much. As per Cigar report, $17.5 billion plus has been given to Taliban government since 2021. So they have to look at what kind of environment they want to create. So all told, I think Pakistan has scored very high in countering terrorism and countering violent extremism. And I think if you compare it with India, where there is a, I would say, state and party sponsorship of violent behaviors, and I would say terrorism, especially if you look at minorities and Muslim population, how they are being terrorized on flimsy reasons, and the kind of divide and kind of laws India has brought in, like CAA and let's say some laws in occupied Kashmir, and the way they handle their minorities, I think Pakistan is doing much better. So that's all for today. Thank you for following the channel. Do put your comments, like and subscribe. Thank you very much.